Nigeria is widely recognized as Africa's oil giant. Beneath its soil lie more than 37 billion barrels of proven crude oil reserves, making it one of the continent's richest energy producers and a key member of OPEC. Yet every single day, it isn't oil that puts food on the tables of more than 240 million people, Africa's largest population. That responsibility rests on the shoulders of millions of smallholder farmers working fields scattered across the country. At first glance, Nigeria seems to have everything needed to become an agricultural superpower. Stretching from humid tropical rainforests in the south to vast savanna grasslands in the north, the country possesses millions of hectares of arable land, abundant river systems fed by the Niger and Benue rivers, and a climate capable of producing crops throughout much of the year. Today, agriculture contributes nearly 1/4 of Nigeria's GDP and remains the primary source of income for a large share of its workforce. But hidden behind these impressive advantages lies an extraordinary paradox. Nigeria is the world's largest producer of cassava, one of Africa's leading exporters of cocoa, and a major producer of palm oil, maize, rice, sorghum, millet, and livestock. Yet despite this enormous output, crop yields per hectare remain relatively low compared with global averages. So how can a country with modest productivity still manage to feed the largest population in Africa, especially when nearly 5 million more people are added every year, while farmers battle droughts, devastating floods, soil degradation, climate change, and long-standing production challenges? Today, we'll journey deep inside one of Africa's most remarkable agricultural systems, where resilience has become just as valuable as fertile land, and where millions of ordinary farmers continue to transform hardship into harvests. And among all the crops that sustain this nation, one humble root has accomplished something no other country has ever achieved. It has quietly become the foundation of Nigeria's food security and the beginning of an industry worth billions. That crop is cassava. If cassava disappeared from Nigeria today, the country wouldn't simply lose another crop. It would lose one of the foundations of its food security. That is the extraordinary paradox. The world's largest cassava producer is not a country with the world's most advanced farms or the highest yields. Instead, it is a nation where millions of smallholder farmers still cultivate relatively small plots, often relying on little more than hand tools, family labor, and generations of experience. Yet every year, those farmers harvest around 60 million metric tons of cassava, more than any other country on Earth, and nearly 1/5 of global production. So what makes this ordinary-looking root so extraordinary? The answer begins with the way it grows. Unlike maize or rice, cassava is not planted from seeds. Each new crop begins with stem cuttings saved from the previous harvest. Healthy stems are carefully selected, cut into short sections, and planted in rows across prepared fields. Hidden inside every cutting are dormant buds waiting for the rainy season. As the first shoots push toward the sunlight, another transformation begins underground. Several roots slowly swell with starch, developing into thick storage tubers capable of feeding entire families. For Nigerian farmers, this simple technique is more than tradition. It is resilience. Across states such as Benue, Kogi, Ogun, and Oyo, cassava thrives where many crops struggle. Poor soils, irregular rainfall, prolonged droughts in the north, and increasingly unpredictable weather have become part of everyday farming. While other staple crops often suffer dramatic losses under these conditions, cassava continues growing. Its deep root system allows it to tolerate drought far better than many cereals. Even after reaching maturity, the roots can remain underground for months, allowing families to harvest only when food is needed or market prices become more favorable. For millions of rural households, the field itself becomes a living food reserve. After 8 to 18 months, depending on the variety and local conditions, harvest season finally arrives. There are no endless convoys of giant harvesting machines. Instead, The work still depends largely on human strength. Farmers first remove the upper stems, leaving a short section to grip with both hands. Leaning backward with the full weight of their bodies, they pull entire clusters of cassava roots from the ground. A single plant can produce a root cluster weighing more than 10 kilograms. When the soil holds the roots too tightly, they rock the remaining stem back and forth repeatedly, loosening the earth without breaking the valuable tubers hidden beneath the surface. Across Nigeria, these scenes repeat millions of times every harvest season. Women often shoulder one of the heaviest responsibilities. Large baskets filled with freshly harvested cassava are balanced on their heads and carried across narrow field paths to waiting trucks or village processing centers. It is demanding work, repeated day after day, and it remains one of the least mechanized parts of Nigeria's agricultural system. This is also one of the country's greatest challenges. Despite producing more cassava than any nation in the world, Nigeria's production is spread across millions of small farms, where access to tractors, harvesters, and modern equipment remains limited. Mechanization is gradually expanding, but manual labor still dominates much of the production chain. And once the roots leave the soil, an even greater race begins. Fresh cassava deteriorates remarkably fast. Ideally, it should be processed within 48 hours after harvest. Beyond that point, natural physiological deterioration begins to reduce quality, affecting both food value and commercial price. Time, not weather, becomes the farmer's greatest enemy. Rather than accepting these losses, communities across Nigeria developed an entire processing industry around cassava. Most harvested roots are peeled entirely by hand before being grated into a fine pulp. The pulp is pressed to remove excess moisture and naturally occurring cyanogenic compounds, then fermented before being roasted into gari, the country's most widely consumed cassava food and one of the staples feeding millions of Nigerians every day. Another portion becomes fufu, a traditional food enjoyed across West Africa. At the same time, modern processing plants are gradually transforming cassava into products with far greater industrial value. High-quality cassava starch is extracted through mechanical grinding, centrifugal separation, and industrial drying before being supplied to food manufacturers, textile factories, paper producers, pharmaceutical companies, and adhesive manufacturers. New investments are also expanding the production of bioethanol, animal feed, and other bio-based industrial products, proving that the real value of cassava lies not only beneath the soil, but throughout an entire value chain. That is the remarkable twist. Cassava is no longer just a survival crop for poor farmers. It has become one of Nigeria's most strategic agricultural resources, supporting millions of livelihoods, strengthening national food security, and generating tens of billions of dollars in domestic economic value through farming, transportation, processing, and manufacturing. Yet despite producing more cassava than anyone else, cassava was never the crop that made Nigeria famous around the world. Long before cassava became the backbone of domestic food security, another native crop connected Nigeria to global trade and once made the country the world's leading exporter of a product found in everything from cooking oil to cosmetics. That story begins among the towering oil palms of southern Nigeria. Long before crude oil transformed Nigeria into an energy giant, another natural resource had already made the country famous across international markets. It wasn't hidden beneath the ground, it grew above it. The oil palm. That is the second paradox of Nigeria's agricultural story. The oil palm is native to West Africa, and for decades Nigeria was one of the world's leading producers and exporters of palm oil. Yet today, countries thousands of kilometers away, particularly Malaysia and Indonesia, dominate the global market, with industries they originally built using African oil palm. So what happened? As global demand for palm oil exploded, Nigeria's industry struggled to modernize. Many plantations became old and less productive. processing remained dominated by small village mills, while investment slowed and international competitors rapidly expanded highly mechanized estates capable of producing larger volumes at lower costs. For a time, it appeared that Nigeria had permanently lost its leadership, but the story didn't end there. Across states such as Edo, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River, a new generation of farmers, private investors, and agricultural companies is working to revive one of the country's oldest industries. A major part of that transformation begins with replanting improved oil palm varieties that mature faster, produce significantly higher yields, and resist disease more effectively than aging trees. At the same time, modern processing facilities equipped with advanced sterilization, mechanical pressing, and efficient oil extraction systems are replacing many traditional methods, reducing waste while improving oil quality. Unlike cassava, which is harvested only once after months of growth, oil palm produces fresh fruit bunches throughout the year. Once ripe, the heavy clusters are cut by hand, using long harvesting poles before being transported quickly to nearby mills. Speed is essential. The sooner the fruit is processed, the higher the quality of the crude palm oil. Today, Nigeria produces approximately 1.4 to 1.6 million metric tons of palm oil annually. While much of this production supplies the country's enormous domestic market, the industry also supports millions of livelihoods through farming, transportation, processing, food manufacturing, cosmetics, soap production, and countless small rural businesses. The greatest lesson of Nigeria's palm oil industry is that competitive agriculture is no longer built on abundant land alone. It depends on better genetics, faster processing, smarter investment, and stronger value chains. Yet despite the economic importance of palm oil, it is still not Nigeria's most recognized agricultural export. Another crop, harvested from colorful pods growing beneath the shade of tropical forests, continues to connect millions of Nigerian farmers with chocolate factories and global markets across Europe, North America, and Asia. That remarkable journey begins with cocoa. Walk into a luxury chocolate shop in London, Paris, or Brussels, and there's a good chance the journey began thousands of kilometers away, in the cocoa farms of southern Nigeria. That is the next paradox. Nigeria is one of the world's leading cocoa producers and exporters, harvesting approximately 300,000 to 350,000 metric tons of cocoa beans each year. The crop generates more than $1 billion in export earnings in favorable market conditions. Yet despite producing enormous quantities of cocoa, Nigeria is not famous for manufacturing chocolate. So where does all that cocoa go? The answer lies in the global supply chain. Across the fertile states of Ondo, Cross River, and Osun, millions of cocoa trees grow beneath the shade of taller forest species, creating a natural environment that protects the delicate pods from excessive heat. For thousands of smallholder farmers, cocoa is far more than another crop. It is the family's primary source of cash income, paying for school fees, healthcare, and daily living expenses. But producing high-quality cocoa has never been easy. Cocoa trees require years of care before producing their first significant harvest. Farmers must constantly battle pests, fungal diseases, aging plantations, and increasingly unpredictable weather patterns. Even after a successful harvest, another challenge remains beyond their control: the international market. Global cocoa prices rise and fall with harvests in West Africa, demand from chocolate manufacturers, and economic conditions around the world. A bumper harvest does not always guarantee higher income. To remain competitive, Nigerian farmers have shifted their focus toward quality rather than quantity. Only fully mature cocoa pods are harvested. The beans are carefully removed, fermented for several days to develop their characteristic flavor, then dried under the sun until they reach export standards. Every stage influences the taste, aroma, and value that buyers are willing to pay. Instead of transforming most of its harvest into finished chocolate, Nigeria exports large volumes of premium cocoa beans to processors and manufacturers across Europe, North America, and Asia. There, the beans become cocoa liquor, cocoa butter, cocoa powder, and eventually the chocolate products enjoyed by millions of consumers worldwide. That is the remarkable twist. Nigeria exports one of the world's most valuable chocolate ingredients, while much of the value added through manufacturing is created elsewhere. Even so, cocoa remains one of the country's most important agricultural exports, connecting remote farming communities to global markets and bringing vital foreign exchange into the national economy. But agriculture in Nigeria is not built on crops alone. For millions of rural families living in the country's drier northern regions, true financial security doesn't grow from the soil. It walks on four legs. And that story begins with the remarkable red Sokoto goat.